Welcome to the first day of our 5-day mindful eating challenge. Each day this week, I will be sharing information to help you eat more mindfully and then giving you a challenge action at the end of each video so that you can put whatever new knowledge and information that you learn into practice for yourself. So by the end of the week, you can expect to have learned all kinds of new habits that can help you optimize your digestion and your metabolism, that will help you feel satisfied, even though you likely will find that you have eaten less, help you listen to your body's signals and cues, and just simply to enjoy the time you spend eating more. So overall, the goal of the challenge is to really just create a better relationship with food. So each day we will focus on a different topic, with today's topic being all about how and why it's important to create space for your meal times. Now you might wonder why I decided to do this challenge and why you might want to do it as well. I decided to do this for a couple of reasons. One is because lately I found myself slipping back into some bad habits around food and eating. And the other thing is because I know from personal experience that eating mindfully is just such an easy way to make a huge positive impact on your health. And I wanted to share with you some of the small changes that I have made, some of these habits, so that you can benefit from them too. Well, I got interested in mindful eating because there came a point in my life, it was probably, I think it was about when I hit 50, that it just really felt like my body was just going on strike. Menopause threw my body all out of whack and my digestion just went haywire. And I had tried a number of over-the-counter options to try and tame the acid reflux and the heartburn that I was feeling at that time, but none of those did anything at all for me. So then I went to a gastroenterologist. I never say that word right, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, she had suggested some other drugs to try, and nothing just did anything at all. And so then they took a look inside my stomach and looked inside my colon just to make sure everything, was fine that way. They couldn't find anything wrong. So by this point, I was getting really frustrated and I really just did not want any more drugs to try. And that's when I found Ayurveda and when I became acquainted with mindful eating. Within a matter of weeks, I had already started to notice changes, and that's why I'm so excited to share this challenge with you. So here on our first day, we are going to shift our mentality around mealtime. For most people these days, it seems like meals have evolved into, being something that's just got to be squeezed in around a very busy schedule. They often are fast, or on the go, or you're multitasking with some other type of activity while you're eating. And I've learned that allowing space for meals can really make a world of difference. I think it's really smart to, I call it set the stage for your meals before you even begin eating. You might be thinking, Julie, what do you mean by setting the stage for your meals? And I'd like you to kind of look at your meal as like an event or a destination within your day. You want to allow time for it. And if you think about it, when you're going somewhere and you get to your destination, you are going to take a little bit of time, take yourself a moment to stop, look around, get comfortable, settle in, and you can do this with your meals as well. You can begin to set the stage for your meals by simply taking time to set the table and slowing down your movements as you're doing so. To digest your meal well, your body really needs to come out of that fight or flight activity state that too many of us stay in these days. You need to relax. I used to work with an administrative assistant that really reflected this fight or flight state most of the time. whenever you talk to her, you could almost just see her brain like working at high speed. And the other thing is her knee was always just like going, bouncing and bouncing and bouncing the whole time she would be talking to you. And while I was never quite that high strung, I know I used to always be constantly striving for high productivity. And doing that, I know that rose my stress level. I didn't realize it at the time, but I did later once I started paying attention. So when you slow down and you set the table, you're beginning to send an alert to your body that you're getting ready to eat. And then you can allow your body to prepare for digestion as well, just by beginning to relax. And then after getting your plate ready, you want to sit down at the table for your meal. Now, I used to be really bad about fixing things that I could eat on the way to my next destination, wherever that was. And honestly, this really just isn't a good eating practice. Research has shown that digestion is much better when you actually sit down to eat versus eating while you're on the go, or even while you're standing up like at a counter at your kitchen. This process of sitting down, it also promotes mindful eating, and maybe that's why it works, because at that point you're more likely to focus on your meal, to chew your food more thoroughly, and it also encourages good posture, which can help with your digestion as well. Then, to create a little more space and relax even further, what you can do is take 2 or 3 nice big deep breaths before you ever take your first bite. Doing this is going to quickly lower your stress level just a little bit more. And then the next thing that I like to do is to take a moment to give thanks and to really feel grateful for the meal, for the people that have prepared it, and maybe, if I'm thinking about it, even the people who helped grow it. If you watched the last video that I did last week, you know that feeling grateful, it lifts your mood, and when you are in a really good, positive mood, you are going to be more likely to enjoy your meal. So while these 3 things, sitting down, taking a few deep breaths, and then taking a moment or two to give thanks, only take a few minutes, they simply just don't happen, or they don't happen well enough, at least they don't for me, when you're in a rush. And lately I've noticed that I have been skipping the last 2 of these because I noticed that I think it's because I've hurried through my meals for so much of my life that it still tends to be my body's default mode unless I'm slowing down to be intentional with my actions. So to keep from being in a hurry at mealtime, I really try not to squeeze it into like short time slots within my day. That's what I mean by like really creating space for it, setting the stage. I know sometimes this can't be helped, but when you do allow yourself to create some space, you're better going to be able to relax and enjoy your meal. So there's other things too that you can do to promote, having a pleasant meal as well. At our house, we always like to light candles at dinner, and we usually use cloth napkins. In fact, I've gotten so used to doing this and I enjoy it, so I do it regardless of whether I'm eating with my husband or I'm eating alone. So here's your challenge for today. The challenge is to create space for your meals. Decide how you're going to do this, and even though you might not be able to create the actual space for your meals today, depending on your schedule, that's totally okay. Take a few moments to think about how you can create more space for your meals for the rest of this week. And then also think about what actions you can take at mealtime to just make it more pleasant. And if you need a little bit of creative inspiration with some ideas for this, if you haven't already, you can sign up for this challenge. There's a link in the description for this video, as I'm going to be emailing some additional resources for anybody that's signed up. So like today, I will be sending out a list of ideas for things that you can do. So let's go ahead and share our ideas by dropping in the comment at least one of the actions that you intend to take for today's challenge. This is going to be a lot of fun, so I am so glad that you are doing this with me, and I will see you back here tomorrow.